I welcome you to my channel. Subscribe and listen to my new stories every day. The night was chilly, the sky clear, as I celebrated another milestone, my birthday, wrapped in the warmth of a bustling city restaurant. Natalie and I sat cozily in a corner booth, the kind where you can watch the world but still feel secluded. She seemed more radiant than ever, her laughter blending perfectly with the soft jazz playing in the background. It was a perfect evening, punctuated by her thoughtful gifts and heartfelt toasts to our future. As we left the restaurant, still buoyed by the night spirits, I couldn't help but feel like the luckiest man alive. Natalie slipped her arm through mine as we made our way to the car, her smile a beacon in the dimly lit parking lot. The drive started as a continuation of our evening, with soft music and quieter, more intimate conversations. However, halfway through our journey home, I noticed a gleam of headlights that seemed overly persistent in my rearview mirror. A sleek sports car was shadowing us, too close for comfort. Initially, I brushed it off as city driving, but the car's presence grew more imposing by the minute. Without warning, the sports car accelerated and rammed into our bumper. Startled, I struggled to maintain control as Natalie screamed beside me. Managing to pull over, I felt a surge of adrenaline mixed with anger. "Stay here," I told Natalie, my voice more composed than I felt. I stormed out of the car and marched towards the driver of the sports car. The driver's door swung open, and a man in a dark coat stepped out. Without a word, he delivered a sharp punch to my stomach, knocking the wind out of me. As I doubled over, he landed another blow to my face. The world blurred into lights and shadows. Fueled by shock and anger, I regained my footing and, with a surge of resolve, I struck back, knocking the man to the ground. "Buddy, what the hell are you doing anyway?" I shouted, my voice echoing in the empty street. The man, panting and holding his side, looked up with a mixture of pain and fury. "She's my wife, you thief," he spat out. Confusion swept over me. "What are you talking about?" "Natalie is my wife," I countered, glancing back at our car. Natalie stood by the passenger door, her face pale, eyes wide with something I couldn't read. He struggled to his feet, his expression tormented. "For years, she's been with both of us. She only decided to leave me for you recently." The revelation hit me harder than his punches. The night air felt colder as I processed his words. Betrayal, sharp and bitter, coursed through me. I walked back to Natalie, who was now crying, her earlier radiance gone, replaced by a shadow of guilt. "I can't believe you do this to me," I said, the pain in my voice mirroring the ache in my heart. Natalie reached out, but I stepped back, her touch suddenly foreign. "I'm sorry, I never meant for it to happen like this," she sobbed. The rest of the night was a blur of anger and shattered illusions. Once I confirmed the truth, my love turned to something dark. In the weeks that followed, driven by a sense of betrayal, I made sure Natalie's duplicity was known. Our divorce was quick and unforgiving. As I signed the last document, the finality of never seeing her again brought neither relief nor happiness, just a hollow victory. Betrayal had turned love into revenge, a revenge that would linger long after our paths diverged. The intrigue of our intertwined lives continued to unravel, revealing more secrets in the shadows of our past. In the weeks following the revelation, the city feels colder, the days more tedious. My mind, once occupied with love and future plans, now churns with darker thoughts. I immerse myself in my work during the day, but at night, my apartment is a prison of memories that echo Natalie's laughter and whispers of love, now tainted with deceit. One evening, as I aimlessly scroll through my social media feed, I stumble upon a post from Natalie. It's a picture of her at a local art gallery opening, radiant as ever, her arm linked with someone I don't recognize, a man with a secretive smile and an all-too-familiar gleam in his eye. The caption reads, "New beginnings, so blessed." Anger coils in my stomach, bitter and hot. Driven by a mixture of fury and curiosity, I decide it's time to confront her once more. I need answers, not for reconciliation but for closure. I grab my jacket and head out into the biting wind. Arriving unannounced at the gallery, I spot Natalie across the room, laughing just like she used to with me. I weave through the crowd, my focus narrowing. As I approach, her smile fades, her eyes widening with a mix of surprise and fear. "Having fun, Natalie?" I ask, my voice steady but cold. "James, what are you, why are you here?" she stammers, trying to mask her nervousness with a strained smile. "I saw your post. New beginnings, huh? Is that what you call this?" I gesture to the new guy standing awkwardly beside her. She sighs, her expression softening to one of remorse. "James, please, let's not do this here." "No, we are doing this here, Natalie. You owe me that much." "You owe me the truth," I press, not caring about the curious glances we're starting to attract. The man next to her steps forward, his voice calm but firm. "Is there a problem here?" I turn to him, my gaze sharp. "You must be the new guy. Tell me, do you know how she operates? Do you know you're probably not the only one?" Natalie grabs my arm, her grip tight. "Stop it, James. Yes, I made mistakes, terrible ones. I thought I could manage everything without anyone getting hurt. I was wrong. I'm trying to make things right. By jumping straight into another relationship. You think that fixes everything?" I shake my head, incredulous. The man speaks up again, his tone more assertive. "We're not doing anything wrong. We just started seeing each other. And I know everything, she's told me everything." I laugh bitterly, feeling the sting of irony. "Everything? Like she once did with me?" Natalie looks between us, her face pale. "I didn't want any of this to happen. I loved you, James, but I was confused, lost. I'm sorry, truly." Her apology hangs in the air, heavy and hollow. I look at her, really look, and see not just the woman I loved but also the stranger she has become. "Goodbye, Natalie. I hope you find what you're looking for," I say, the words like shards of glass in my mouth. As I walk away, the weight on my shoulders feels lighter, yet the void in my heart grows deeper. The gallery fades behind me, along with the life I thought I had. The night is dark, but the streets are alive with the noise of the city, my city, where the next chapter awaits, free from Natalie's shadow. Weeks after my encounter with Natalie at the gallery, the anger that fueled me hasn't dissipated. If anything, it's sharpened into something more dangerous, a desire for retribution. She thought she could move on without consequence, but she underestimated me. No one betrays me and walks away unscathed. Natalie thinks she's starting a new chapter in her life, but I'm about to rewrite it. One evening, I find myself sitting in front of my computer, staring at her social media. Natalie's life is on full display, her pictures, her posts, and her smiling face as if nothing happened. The man I confronted at the gallery, Evan, features more and more in her life. The two of them look like the perfect couple. The idea that she's so easily moved on fuels the fire inside me. I grab my phone and scroll through my contacts, stopping at an old name, David. David used to be a private investigator, someone who owed me a favor from years back. I hesitate for a moment, considering the path I'm about to take. Then, with a deep breath, I hit call. The phone rings twice before a gruff voice answers. David speaking. "David, it's James." There's a pause on the other end, then recognition. "James. Been a long time, buddy. What can I do for you?" "I need some information." "It's personal," I say, my voice steady. "All right. Give me the details." I fill him in on Natalie, her new boyfriend, and my need for something, anything, I can use against her. David doesn't ask many questions, but I can hear the gears turning in his head. "Consider it done," he says after I finish explaining. Give me a few days. As I hang up the phone, a sense of cold satisfaction washes over me. This isn't about reconciliation anymore. It's about making sure she feels the consequences of her betrayal. 3 days later, I get a call from David. His voice is low, almost conspiratorial. I've got something you might want to see. You free tonight? I agree, and we meet at a bar on the other side of town, away from prying eyes. David slides into the booth opposite me, a manila envelope in his hand. He tosses it onto the table, and I open it slowly, my pulse quickening. Inside are photos, Natalie and Evan, but not just in public. There are pictures of them at a hotel, entering separately but leaving together hours later. There's also a record of transactions, gifts, expensive dinners, trips she never mentioned to me. I dug a little deeper, David says, sipping his beer. Turns out your ex and this Evan guy have been seeing each other longer than you thought. She was cheating on you while you were still married. They even went on a trip to Miami together while you were at that work conference last year. The information hits me like a punch to the gut. The Miami trip. She'd told me it was a girls' weekend. I feel the bile rise in my throat as I remember how naive I'd been, how easily I'd believed her lies. David continues, oblivious to the storm brewing inside me. From what I can gather, she's living with him now. He's got some money, works in finance, but here's the kicker, he's got a reputation. He's been married before. Wife left him after she found out about his cheating. Looks like he's playing the same game with Natalie. I look down at the photos, feeling a strange mixture of rage and dark satisfaction. She left me for someone just as deceitful as she is. The irony isn't lost on me. I need more, David. I want to destroy her, I say quietly, my fingers gripping the edge of the table. David raises an eyebrow. More. I want something that'll ruin her reputation. Something public, something she can't recover from, I clarify. The cold determination in my voice even surprises me. David leans back in his seat, considering it. That's going to take time. But I can dig deeper. I nod, and as David leaves, I stare at the envelope in front of me. It feels like a loaded weapon, one I'm ready to use. A few days later, I get a message from David. He's sent over files, a goldmine of personal details about Natalie and Evan. Bank statements, emails, private messages. It's everything I need to dismantle her perfect new life. As I sift through the data, I find what I'm looking for, a set of compromising emails between Evan and another woman. Not just any woman, but one who works with Natalie at her firm. There's enough here to show Natalie isn't the only one in Evan's life. A plan forms in my mind, one that's equal parts satisfying and cruel. I print the emails, photos, and all the evidence I've collected and package them in a neat little folder. Tomorrow is her company's annual holiday party, and I know just how to make my entrance. The evening of the party arrives, and I dress sharply, blending in with the crowd of professionals gathered in the upscale hotel ballroom. I spot Natalie across the room, looking radiant in a red dress, laughing and mingling with her colleagues. Evan stands beside her, playing the part of the charming boyfriend. My heart pounds in my chest as I approach the podium set up for the event speeches. I've timed this perfectly. As the CEO steps up to give his address, I slide through the crowd, reaching Natalie just as the room falls silent. "James," she gasps, her eyes widening in disbelief. I smile, a cold, calculated smile. "Happy holidays, Natalie." I thrust the folder into her hands, watching the color drain from her face as she opens it. Her hands shake as she flips through the photos and emails, realizing the scope of my revenge. "What is this?" she whispers, her voice trembling. "It's your reality. Consider it my gift," I say, loud enough for those nearby to hear. Evan steps forward, confused. "What's going on?" I turn to him, my voice dripping with contempt. "You might want to explain those emails, Evan." Or better yet, explain them to everyone here. I'm sure they'd love to know how you've been screwing your coworker and Natalie at the same time. The room is dead silent now, all eyes on us. Natalie's face is frozen in shock, her perfect facade shattered. Evan, too, looks like he's been punched in the gut. I turn on my heel and walk out, leaving chaos in my wake. The satisfaction doesn't come immediately, but I know it will. Natalie's life is about to crumble, just as she shattered mine. This is only the beginning. The night after the company holiday party feels surreal. A cold, satisfying calm has settled over me, but beneath it lies an undercurrent of something darker, something unresolved. Natalie's shock and Evan's humiliation should have been enough, but they weren't. I've come too far to leave this unfinished, to let them crawl away and rebuild their lives. They took everything from me, my trust, my love, my future, and I'm going to make sure they lose everything too. The next day, I wake up early, my mind racing. The plan has already started to form in the back of my head. I pick up my phone and dial David. James, he answers, his voice a mix of curiosity and caution. I saw what happened last night. It's all over the office gossip. Looks like you got what you wanted. I shake my head, even though he can't see me. Not yet. I need one more thing from you, David. There's a pause on the line before he speaks again, more serious now. What is it? I need you to find out where they're staying tonight. I know they're not going back to their place after what I pulled. They'll want to lay low, somewhere private. David sighs. You're playing a dangerous game, James. I'm not finished yet. After a brief silence, he responds. Give me a few hours. The hours crawl by slowly, the tension building with each passing minute. Finally, my phone buzzes with a message from David, Ritz-Carlton, Suite 914. Be careful. I pocket my phone, grab the folder of remaining evidence, emails, photos, and details of both Evan's and Natalie's betrayals, and leave my apartment. Tonight will be the end. By the time I arrive at the hotel, the sun has long set, and the city is bathed in the cold glow of streetlights. The lobby is quiet, and no one gives me a second glance as I make my way to the elevators. Suite 914 is high up, away from the world, perfect for two people trying to hide from the fallout of their lies. I knock on the door, my heart pounding in my chest, but my face calm and composed. There's a rustling inside before Natalie's voice calls out, tentative. Who is it? It's James, I say softly, leaning against the door. I just want to talk. There's a long pause. I imagine her on the other side, torn between fear and curiosity. Eventually, the door unlocks, and she opens it just wide enough for me to see her face. Her eyes are red, puffy from crying, and her expression is a mixture of surprise and caution. James. What are you doing here? She asks, her voice trembling slightly. I just wanted to talk. We never got to finish last night. Please, I say, my voice low and earnest, just 5 minutes. She hesitates, then steps back and opens the door wider. As I step inside, I see Evan sitting on the couch, looking up at me with a mix of anger and confusion. The suite is opulent, the kind of place you'd escape to when the world outside is crumbling. What do you want, James? Evan asks, standing up, his eyes narrowing. I wanted to see how the two of you are doing. After everything, I reply, my voice calm, almost conversational. I thought you'd want to know that I'm not done yet. Natalie's face pales. What do you mean? I take the folder out of my jacket and toss it onto the table in front of them. That's everything you've tried to hide. All the details of your little affair. Every lie, every betrayal. I'm giving it to the press tomorrow. Natalie gasps, her hand flying to her mouth. James, no, please. You've already ruined us. I cut her off, my voice hard. I've barely scratched the surface, Natalie. You think losing your reputation at work was bad? This, I point to the folder, will destroy everything. Your career, your social life, everything you've built. And as for you, Evan, let's just say that your clients won't appreciate knowing how much of a liar you are. It'll be fun watching your fancy finance job burn to the ground. Evan steps forward, his fists clenched. You can't do this, James. You're insane. I laugh, the sound bitter and cold. Oh, I can. And I will. Natalie steps between us, her eyes wide with desperation. James, please. I'll do anything, just stop this. I was wrong, I know that, but don't do this to us. Don't destroy everything. Her words wash over me, but I feel nothing. No sympathy, no pity. Just the satisfaction of watching her crumble. You already destroyed everything, I say quietly. This is just the consequence. Suddenly, Evan snaps. Get out, he shouts, lunging forward. He grabs me by the collar and shoves me back, fury etched on his face. I stumble but recover quickly, my own anger flaring. Touch me again, and I'll make sure this gets out tonight, I warn, my voice cold as ice. Evan lets go, breathing heavily, but the hatred in his eyes is unmistakable. Natalie steps back, tears streaming down her face. James, please. You loved me once, you don't have to do this. I pause, looking at her, remembering all the good times we once shared. But that person, whoever she was, is gone. I've already made my decision. No, Natalie, I say softly. You don't deserve my mercy. I turn to leave, but just as I reach the door, I hear a sudden rush of movement behind me. Evan charges, his face contorted with rage. I barely have time to react before he's on me, tackling me to the ground. We struggle, fists flying, each punch driven by anger and betrayal. I can taste blood in my mouth, and my vision blurs as Evan lands a hard blow to my jaw. But I don't stop. I fight back, driven by a dark, unrelenting need to finish this. Suddenly, in the chaos of our fight, I hear a loud crash. I push Evan off me and turn to see Natalie, her eyes wide with terror, staring at the shattered glass balcony door. She steps backward, her foot slipping on the broken shards. Time seems to slow as she stumbles, arms flailing, before she disappears over the edge. I rush to the balcony, my heart pounding. Below, on the cold pavement of the street, lies Natalie's motionless body. Blood pools around her head, staining the pristine hotel entrance. The world spins around me, my breath coming in ragged gasps. Evan stands beside me, his face white with shock. Neither of us speaks. There's nothing left to say. I leave the hotel without another word. The revenge I sought has come at a cost I never anticipated. Natalie is gone. Evan is broken. And me? I'm left with the hollow emptiness of victory. We are all forever marked by the betrayal, each of us destroyed by it in our own way.